Buenas amigos de Akihabara, estamos aquí, acaban de terminar las semifinales de los mundiales de League of Legends, estamos con MonteCristo y bueno, vamos a hablar un poco con él de sus impresiones sobre estas series. Primera pregunta, bueno, evidentemente él siendo caster de la liga coreana, suele estar bastante contento, un poco quiero saber sus primeras impresiones tras vivir esta serie. So, being a caster for the Korean League, I want to know just your first impression on both series, both semifinals. What do you think? How do you think things went?
I was actually surprised, not by the first one. I thought SK Telecom would soundly defeat Origin 3-0, but I was really surprised by the second one. I really didn't know who was going to win that match. I thought it was very 50-50, and I definitely didn't think it was going to be a 3-0 for either team, so quite surprised actually.
Ok, nos cuenta que está bastante sorprendido por cómo ha sucedido todo. La batalla entre SKT y Origen, bueno, él creía que iba a ganar SKT de calle 3-0, como pasó, pero está muy sorprendido por esta batalla entre Fnatic y Q-Tigers, que, bueno, pensaba que estaban mucho más a la par a nivel de habilidad y no esperaba que Q-Tigers se llevara la serie 3-0. Bueno, hablando un poco del primer partido entre SKT y Origen, quiero saber un poco si él esperaba que EasyHoon jugara esos dos primeros partidos y qué cree que aporta ese mid laner a la alineación de SKT. So, talking about SKT versus Origen, I want to know if you expected EasyHoon to play the first two games, and I want to know what does EasyHoon offer to the team. Yeah, thank you.
So I wasn't too surprised. I think Faker is definitely the better choice, but EasyHoon is a player with the current bans. It's really hard to ban against EasyHoon because you can't take out Azir or Orianna. And I think what SKT wanted to do is just, if Xpeke is going to play very passively in the laning phase, just let EasyHoon also play passively, try and gank the side lanes, and then just wait till late game team fights where I think EasyHoon is a better team fighting player in the control style. So I think that's what they were thinking.
Ok, nos cuenta que, bueno, evidentemente cree que Faker es la mejor opción, pero que, bueno, si Peque lo que quería era jugar una línea pasiva y farmear, pues que EasyHoon aporta eso y cree que es mucho mejor en esos magos de control, que es capaz de farmear a la par que Peque y, bueno, al llegar a las batallas de final de partida se desenvuelve mucho mejor que el jugador español. Luego, ayer hablando con Faker nos contaba que, bueno, que cree que los equipos coreanos son mucho mejores en las peleas en late y creo que me hable un poco de esa dicotomía, ¿no? Que quizá los europeos juegan mejor esas rotaciones al principio de la partida y los coreanos mejor al final, y un poco su opinión. So, yesterday I was talking to Faker and he was telling me that he thinks Korean teams are better at team fighting in the late game. So I wanted to know what you think about European being kind of, I don't know if better or more well-versed in these rotations in the early game, and how Korean teams plan their strategies to the late game team fights.
Well, I think that a lot of what we saw, especially from Fnatic, was some very good early game play, and I think Origin actually did. I mean, you remember they beat KT with some really good teleport usage and stuff like that, but team fighting is just something that has to be practiced over and over and over again and has to be a focus. So it's hard to say. I don't really know to what extent the coaching staff influences the Korean team's team fighting, but they do think about that a lot and they do train a lot in that regard, as do many teams. But I think the Koreans have, I mean, they've just picked up on it better, I guess. I don't know the exact reasons. I think it would change from team to team as to why that's true.
Ok, nos comenta que, bueno, él ha visto hoy a Fnatic muy bien en early, que incluso Origen contra KT hicieron muy buenas jugadas al principio de la partida con los teleports, pero que al final las teamfights en late game hay que practicarlas mucho y no sabe hasta qué punto eso se debe al equipo que hay detrás, a todos los entrenadores y managers que ayudan al equipo, así que bueno, no sabe muy bien por dónde va, pero sí que es verdad que los equipos coreanos juegan mejor en late. Hablando de un poco como última pregunta, de la la semifinal entre Origen y SKT. Quiero un poco saber cómo vio él el pick and ban de la tercera partida, Origen mostrando esa Lulu tan temprano, si fue un movimiento muy arriesgado y si cree que el equipo se desmoronó mentalmente. So, last question about Origen versus SKT. I want to know what you think about the third game pick and ban phase. Origen showed Lulu on the first rotation on the red side, and I want to know what you think about. Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Remember,
I do.
SKT picked red side in the first rotation, then Origen, Lulu, and Alistar. If I'm.
And then they had Sivir and Nar.
Yeah. So, and I want to know what you think about team mentality, because I think they crumbled in the game. So yeah, thoughts about that?
It was really weird to see them pick that, because that's a strategy. The Sivir Lulu with a lot of crowd control is a strategy that SK Telecom used very heavily in the spring. So trying to pick that composition against SKT is something that they know very well. So it also doesn't have much late game scaling. You really have to create picks and pick off people early in the game to be successful. And when they didn't do that, the scaling of SKT was just significantly stronger, and it became very hard for them to win.
Ok, nos comenta que bueno, esa estrategia de coger Lulu y Alistar es como muy... la ha utilizado muchas veces SKT y fue un poco raro por parte de Origen apostar por eso contra un equipo que conoce también esa composición. Y bueno, la composición de Origen nos comenta que se basaba mucho en conseguir kills en early, en el principio de la partida. No consiguieron eso y al final la mejor escalabilidad de los campeones de SKT les acabó pasando factura. Viniendo ahora al partido de hoy entre Fnatic y Q-Tigers, un poco qué piensas sobre la primera partida, que ha sido un poco una montaña rusa. So coming into Q-Tigers versus Fnatic, first game was kind of I lost the word.
Close?
No.
Big advantage for Fnatic. Yes, up and down.
Yeah, wherever. Yeah, it was close. Let's say it was close. It's not the correct translation, but okay. So it was close. Q-Tigers got the first Baron, if I recall correctly. Then Fnatic took the second one, and well.
Yeah, it was back and forth. So Fnatic came out. What was the question?
Yeah. General thoughts about the game.
I mean, Q-Tigers are a team that are very, very good at coming back from deficits and punishing very small errors, and they've been that way all year. They haven't been the strongest early game team, so Fnatic certainly had a very large lead in that game, but I think Q-Tigers again had a better scaling composition. They got the kills onto the Kassadin, which was really, really huge, and then they were able to take some of these team fights, even with the gold deficit, and actually start to push forward for a win.
Ok, nos comenta que, bueno, como decía, Q-Tigers es muy bueno luchando y que, bueno, un poco la composición de Fnatic no hizo eso. Sí que es verdad que el equipo europeo ha estado muy bien, luchando y consiguiendo algunas ventajas, pero al final la mejor escalabilidad de los campeones del equipo coreano les ha vuelto a pasar factura. También quiero saber un poco, Taylor nos comentaba en la fase de grupos lo importante de la preparación. Sí cree que Fnatic ha venido bien preparado para esta semifinal. So, talking to Taylor in the group stage, he put a lot of emphasis in preparation. Do you think Fnatic came well prepared for this semifinal?
I think Taylor is a fantastic coach, and I really respect him. I think that one of the problems that they had was they didn't have enough champions to fall back on. I thought their draft in Game 1 was pretty good. I didn't really like their draft in Game 2 very much, because there really wasn't a way to engage with the Skarner properly or really set up Azir to do a lot of damage, just because Veigar was there. And we talked about it a lot on the desk, but it was like half the team wanted to go in and kill the backline, the other half of the team wanted to kite. So I think there were some issues, but that could have been also just a problem with Reignover's champion pool, and maybe he wasn't ready to play some of these non-Gragas picks.
Ok, nos comenta que, bueno, la primera partida... Bueno, en primer lugar nos ha comentado que cree que Taylor es un gran entrenador. La primera partida cree que Fnatic ha hecho una buena fase de Pixie Bans, pero la segunda no tan buena. Cree que, bueno, medio equipo quería entrar en las batallas, matar a la backline del equipo de Q-Tigers, y la otra mitad del equipo pues quería un poco quitear y hacer daño desde lejos. No sabes si es un problema tanto de picks y bans o como problema de champion pool de Reignover, que quizá no domina tantos campeones como debería. Como última pregunta de cara a la final, un poco qué espera. So last question. What do you expect will happen in the final?
I think SK Telecom will win. Hopefully, it will not be a 3-0. I hope that we get a really good final, a really competitive final, but I think Ku has a lot to work on to be able to take on SKT. And, you know, both these teams, now that there are only 2 teams left, they don't really have anybody to scrim in Europe. And they were scrimming very heavily, I know, beforehand, so I don't think they're going to have many surprises. And if that's the case, then I think SKT is just the more dominant team.
Ok, Monte espera que SKT gane la final. Con un poco de suerte no será un 3-0, sino que bueno, estará un poquito más disputado. Según nos comenta, tanto SKT como Q-Tigers han estado jugando partidos de práctica entre ellos mucho. No tenían colegas en Europa con quien practicar y han jugado mucho entre ellos. Así que suponemos que no habrá muchas sorpresas de cara a la final, pero esperamos una final competida. Thank you very much for the interview.
Thank you very much.
I hope. Yeah.